Hey people, Sal here, and this is a more serious video. Try to make it fun. Nah. Okay, the topic of the video is about whether or not lying is in your best self-interest, at least some of the time, and I see one of my videos, my previous video has failed to upload, so shit. Okay, so I was thinking, I woke up, I wanted to take a bath, and I was like struck with this thought because yeah, it seems to me that at times it is best, or at least it seems to be best, that we lie in order to improve our lives somehow. It is in other words, it is in our best self-interest, in our rational self-interest, like objectivists would say, to lie or omit, at least. And I will give you an example. For instance, in the realm of love and relationships, and let's assume that you are one of the overwhelmingly majoritarian members of the group of people that thinks or needs or considers that love is an integral part of their definition of happiness, and that's and whose highest value is the pursuit of their own notion of happiness. Okay, let's assume that you are, as me, focused and fixed on the objective, on the ultimate goal of achieving and sustaining the feeling, or whatever you want to call it, emotional state or whatever, that your psychological state that you identify happiness with. And let's say that you suffer from a chronic illness. Okay, let's imagine, for instance, that you're a single person. How is it not in your best self-interest to hide, at least hide? Let's not talk directly at lying, but let's talk about omitting, okay? Omitting the fact that you have, let's say, multiple sclerosis, or, I don't know, spondylitis, or cystic fibrosis, or whatever, you know, or rheumatoid arthritis. You could have one of those. Those are, you know, I don't want to be talking shit, but, you know, let's imagine that none of those is life-threatening, okay, but it will just lead you to a situation of dependency, okay, and that will imply a high cost on the counterpart of your life. Let's call it your partner or your lover, or whatever you want to call it. So, to have a partner, you have to conquer someone, okay? You have to make someone, in principle, fall in love with you, or they have to fall in love with you. To fall in love with someone, a person, I would say, some people would argue you cannot choose to fall in love or whatever, but I would at least say that you can boycott, or at least undermine your own ability to fall in love with a certain person, okay? Or at least to follow through with that, let's call it, original attraction. And so, oh shit. Okay, so, having in mind that you have a certain power to boycott yourself from entering into a relationship or even to fall in love with a certain person, wouldn't you say that it is quite easier to fall in love with a certain person that you know, or that you imagine, or that you assume doesn't imply a high, substantial, concrete, and predictable cost to your own quality of life, because he or she will be dependent on you, be it in 10 years, be it in 20 or 30, okay? And so, if you, and look at yourself and be truthful, imagine that you are talking to someone and you are getting to know that someone You are not in love with that someone, okay? You're just getting to know someone. And that person reveals that he or she suffers from a chronic illness. The type of illness that will be a high cost to you. Don't you think that you will have a strong negative incentive to not, or a strong negative incentive to date that person, to go into a relationship with that person, you know? I would say so, and so, having in mind. But we also know that when people are in love with people, are already in love, that we are already in a relationship, there is a substantial fraction of people that really endure, and that they, in the name of love, and because they are also emotionally dependent on the person and all that, they do take care of the other person. They do see the upside, and they just don't give up, and they're there, and I find that kind of beautiful and stuff. But whatever. What I'm saying is, when you're already in love, and when you're already in a relationship, and something happens, it's one thing. But when you are getting to know a person, and you have no emotional dependence or attachment to that person, and you find out this negative feature, let's call it that, about the person, that is a big disincentive to think about something else. So how is it not in the best self-interest of the person having the illness to hide the fact that they have the illness? I do believe, and until someone demonstrates or at least makes a strong case to the contrary, that you do have strong reasons to hide, if not lie, about certain things in order to achieve your own notion of your best self-interest. Because by what we know about human nature, and you have a lot better chance that someone who's already in love with you sticks with you if something negative happens. Let's say you go in an accident and you become paraplegic, you know? But if you are a single paraplegic, how are you going to captivate someone into a relationship? And before people start, typing shit, I'm perfectly aware that there are people in this world that are capable of falling in love with someone who's a mess, and to whom someone in a mess is kind of exciting. They've got some sort of fetish with paraplegics or people with a mental retardation of some kind. I'm perfectly aware that there are exceptions, but I'm not talking about exceptions. I'm talking about the rule, and I want to know what you think. Should you lie or hide or not? And what's the benefits? What's the losses? And what is the net outcome? Is it not in your net self-benefit to hide the fact that you had a chronic illness? Leave your inspirational remarks. Bye.